No one screamed, no alarm sounded. But when the police dog suddenly leapt into a baby stroller in the middle of the airport, time seemed to freeze. Parents gasped. Officers rushed forward. What they discovered next would leave the entire terminal and millions online completely stunned. No one noticed at first. Not the rushing travelers, not the exhausted parents, not the airport staff moving on autopilot. But in the middle of the terminal, a trained police dog suddenly froze. His ears lifted. His body stiffened. And in that moment, everything was about to change. It was another busy morning at the airport. Rolling suitcases echoed across the polished floors. Departure boards blinked endlessly overhead. Families hurried toward their gates, children clinging to parents, voices blending into a familiar hum of chaos. To most people, it was just another ordinary day. Officer Daniel Reyes had worked this terminal for years. He'd seen lost passports, missed flights, angry travelers, crying children. Nothing surprised him anymore. Beside him sat Rex, his German Shepherd K9, partner. Calm, focused, trained to ignore distractions and spot what humans often missed. They were halfway through a routine patrol when Rex suddenly broke formation. His nose lifted into the air, his muscles tensed. Then, without warning, he lunged forward. Daniel grabbed the leash, startled. "Easy, Rex," he whispered, scanning the crowd. That's when he saw it, a young mother pushing a stroller, moving quickly through the terminal, eyes fixed straight ahead. At first, nothing seemed wrong, but Rex didn't stop pulling, and Rex was never wrong. The airport moved like a river constant. Noisy, unstoppable. Wheels rolled, announcements echoed, footsteps overlapped into a dull roar. Officer Daniel Hayes had worked this terminal for years, long enough to feel invisible inside the crowd. Beside him walked Rex, a seasoned canine trained to notice what humans missed. Rex had passed hundreds of strollers without a second glance. Until this one, without warning, Rex froze. His ears shot forward. His body stiffened. The leash went tight in Hayes' hand. At first, Hayes thought it was a false alert maybe. A scent left behind, maybe fatigue. But then Rex did something completely unexpected. He pulled hard, not aggressive. Not frantic, determined. "Easy, boy," Hayes muttered. Scanning the crowd, that's when Rex broke formation. Before Hayes could react, the dog lunged forward, weaving between travelers straight toward a young mother pushing a baby stroller. Gasps rippled through the terminal. A security officer reached for his radio. The mother cried out in shock as Rex leapt, front paws landing on the stroller's edge. But Rex didn't bark. He didn't growl. Instead, he pressed his nose down into the stroller, whining softly, urgently, like he was begging someone to look closer. Hayes' heart began to race. Rex had never reacted like this before, and whatever he was sensing, it wasn't ordinary. Without warning, the dog lunged. In one powerful motion, he broke from the officer's side and charged straight toward the stroller. Gasps rippled through the terminal. A woman screamed. The officer shouted his partner's name, sprinting after him as the leash slipped from his grasp. The stroller tipped slightly as the dog leapt, his paws landing against the frame. Security rushed forward, hands reaching for weapons, voices barking commands. For a split second, it looked like chaos was about to explode into tragedy, but the dog wasn't snarling. He wasn't attacking. He stood rigid, blocking the stroller, with his body, nose buried deep into the blankets, sniffing furiously. Then he froze, his ears pinned back. His body trembled. The baby inside didn't cry, didn't move. The officer skidded to a stop, heart pounding. He recognized that posture. Instantly, this wasn't aggression. This was alert. The kind that meant something was deeply wrong. Passengers fell silent. Even the crying children nearby seemed to sense it. The dog let out a low, haunting whine, refusing to step back no matter how many commands were shouted. That was when the officer knew. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a warning. The stroller tipped just enough for its contents to be seen. At first, it looked harmless. A soft blanket. A small diaper bag tucked beside the baby. The infant stirred, letting out a quiet whimper. But then Officer Miller's eyes locked onto something that didn't belong there. Shadow froze. Not barked. Not lunged. Froze. The dog's ears stood rigid, his body tense like a drawn bow. That was the sign Miller trusted most. Calm meant nothing. Stillness meant danger. He gently pulled the blanket back. Beneath it was a sealed package, thick, plastic-wrapped, carefully hidden under layers meant to disguise its shape. Another was wedged beneath the stroller's padding. And another. Miller's breath caught. This wasn't a mistake. It was a method. The woman pushing the stroller stepped back instinctively, her face draining of color. "That's not mine," she said too quickly. Her voice shook. Too loud. Too defensive. Airport security moved in, forming a silent wall. The baby began to cry now, louder, frightened by the tension in the air. Miller scooped the infant into his arms, shielding the child as officers carefully removed the packages. Tests would later confirm what Miller already knew. This stroller wasn't carrying just a baby, it was carrying a crime meant to pass unnoticed until one police dog refused to walk away. Security cleared the terminal, and the crowd watched in stunned silence as officers surrounded the stroller. The mother's protests grew louder, frantic, almost rehearsed, but the baby remained eerily still. The dog refused to move, standing guard, eyes locked on the blanket. When an officer gently lifted the fabric, a sharp intake of breath rippled through everyone nearby. Tucked beneath the baby's seat was a sealed package, taped tightly, hidden with terrifying precision. It wasn't toys or medicine. It was illegal contraband, dangerous enough to evacuate an entire gate. The realization hit instantly. This wasn't an accident. The woman's story unraveled within seconds. Her documents didn't match. Her answers collided. Her confidence collapsed. The baby wasn't even hers. Investigators later confirmed the child had been used as cover, a living shield for something far darker. As the woman was led away, shaking and screaming, the officers focused on the infant, finally crying now, safe in trained hands. The dog sat calmly beside the stroller, mission complete. Passengers wiped tears, some praying, others frozen by how close tragedy had come. In one sudden moment, a routine patrol had stopped a disaster no one else saw coming. That day changed everything forever. The terminal slowly returned to life, but something had changed. Officers gathered around the stroller, their expressions shifting from confusion to shock. Inside, hidden beneath layers of blankets, was more than a sleeping baby. There were sealed packages, false documents, and evidence that made every trained officer go silent. This wasn't an accident. It was deliberate. The mother collapsed into tears as the truth surfaced. She hadn't known. She had trusted the wrong people. The baby, innocent and unaware, stirred softly, untouched by the danger that had surrounded them moments earlier. One officer gently lifted the child, holding them like something fragile and priceless. The police dog sat calmly now, tail resting. On the floor, job done, no barking, no tension. Just quiet certainty, witnesses whispered, some cried. Others stood frozen, realizing how close tragedy had come without anyone noticing. If not for that single leap, if not for instinct over routine, everything could have ended differently. As officers escorted those responsible away, applause slowly filled the terminal. Not loud, not forced, real, earned. That day a baby was saved. A crime was stopped. And everyone who saw it learned the same truth: heroes don't always speak. Sometimes they listen. And jump.